Welcome to the RTO Superhero Podcast with me, Angela Connell, where we explore the complexities of compliance and how to ensure business success within an RTO. This podcast is for anyone in the training industry who wants to learn from my experience as an RTO consultant, RTO manager, trainer assessor and entrepreneur, as well as the experience of other experts in the training industry. Listen in and let us help you become an RTO superhero that you want to be. Hi, and welcome to the RTO Superhero Podcast. My name is Angela Connell. In this podcast, we'll be going through a range of different things about how to be an RTO superhero in your industry. And this was a very good question that I was asked recently about how do we do that with our clients? Well, what we do is we have a series of training that we offer our clients, and we also keep on the pulse of what's happening within the vet sector. So, for me, it's taken years and years and years to be able to, over 20 years in the training industry to get me to where I am right now within my expertise when it comes to the vet sector, compliance and business development within as an RTO. So what does it mean to be an RTO superhero? So an RTO superhero is very much around understanding the compliance requirements, being able to implement the compliance into your organisation, having a culture of compliance within your organisation. That is really important. And what I mean by that is that everyone's on board, all of the team are on board with having compliance, and they see an audit as an opportunity for improvement, and they really identify with those improvements within their organisation that is going to make a difference to the training that they're delivering to their students. And I really believe that, if you've got good compliance within your organisation, you're going to have a really successful RTO and you're going to have really happy students as well. But it's how do you manage that, time-old problem of balancing compliance and business success? We are in the training industry to make money. We've got to pay wages and we've got to pay bills. There's a range of things that we need to do. So it's not our core. But it is also often most people who are in the training industry is because they love education and they love what it does for being able to provide education to those who may not have access to it before, and how education changes lives. So for me, an RTO superhero is someone who really looks at compliance as a continuous improvement process. They really take on board what we teach them. They're an avid learner. They love to get in there and learn about what's happening in the industry. Networking with other training providers is also, I think, really, really important. Getting access to government funding, being on the pulse of what is changing in the industry. So things like what are the skill shortages locally and nationally, what you can do within your RTO to meet local and community needs, getting in contact with job network providers and identifying what their needs are as well, particularly when it comes to skill shortages and where we need to get the long-term unemployed into work. The other area is having unique training products on your scope of registration. If you target unique industries where there isn't a lot of other training providers out there, and you're able to provide that training service to that unique target market, I think that's also a very good example of an RTO superhero. Also, it's the unique way you deliver. So you may have a range of training products on your scope that are not unique. There's a lot of RTOs out there that have it, but it's the way you deliver your training assessment. It's the services that you provide. It's your UPS, your unique selling point, or USP, unique selling point. So what is unique about what you do and how you deliver your training? And that's what makes it very different from any other RTO out there. To be an RTO superhero is very much about standing up and being different, identifying how you can improve your sector. This is the industry, not just the training industry, but the industry that you're providing training for. And it's also very much about keeping up to speed with those industry changes, getting involved with industry associations, even the service skills organisations. That's a good way to be able to get involved with that. It's being able to step up and speak up when it comes to like we've had a lot of issues over the last few years with our regulatory authority, and I've seen some great leaders in the training industry stand up and actually voice their opinion and do something about it. Now, there's a good way to doing it and there's a bad way of doing it, but I think when you unite as a community, there are some great things that we can do as a community. It's actually one of the things that we're striving for with Vivacity is through our Vivacity community, which includes accredited and non-accredited training providers. And it's learning new techniques and new ways to deliver your training, meeting the current needs of students and industry. It's also identifying different ways that we can deliver. When you think about COVID-19 and isolation and what we had to do to change in order to meet the isolation requirements. In particular, like we launched earlier this year, the Education and Isolation podcast, as well as the course that we delivered, because it was very much how do we transition from face-to-face training and get online, because that's where our students are going to be. And this is going to change forever. Like, students are going to expect now to be able to access their training online, whether it is full-time online or partly online, have a component for it online. So it's looking at innovation and how you can do things differently within your industry. Now, if you've been following the Education and Isolation podcast, you would know that I had interviewed quite a range of different people, different backgrounds. Some of them were clients, some of them were platform providers. So they were, for example, Accelerate, and we also had Blue Edge who were on there. We also had someone on automation. There was a range of different subject matters that we covered through Education and Isolation, and that was adjusting to the change and what we needed to do to be able to provide quality education to the community. So I think that really defines, those constant changes, the innovative ideas, meeting industry needs, networking, all of that in a nice little nutshell is an RTO superhero. And, standing up, being a leader in your community. I think that's what's really important and what we really need within our industry sector. We've had a lot of bad news press about private registered training organisations. Let's change that. Let's make it positive and make it for the better, because, the reason I don't know what reason you're in this industry for, but I know why I'm here. I truly believe education changes lives. And I know this from my experience as a trainer assessor, where, I'd have students tell me how much I'd impacted their lives at the end of the training, as a training, owning an RTO as well, how I impacted. I used to have students, family members come up and thank me or thank the trainer for what they had done for their family member, and really changed their lives, and they've got a different direction now. And this is what I truly believe we do. And what I really want is, RTOs to be delivering quality education that's meeting these needs, and they're stepping up and raising the standard of their education, so that we can change lives. And not just in Australia, this is overseas as well. There's so much of an impact that we can have in the training industry. Anyway, thank you very much for listening to me today. This has been Angela Connell from Vivacity and the RTO Superhero. I look forward to catching up again with you soon. Thanks for listening. Thank you for joining us on the RTO Superhero Podcast with me, Angela Connell. Please take a moment to rate and review this podcast on your preferred podcast app. Each rating and review helps us fulfill our goals of helping training organisations around Australia to learn and grow in compliance and business success. The RTO Superhero Podcast is proud to be part of the Experts on Air podcast network.